All right, here we go. The webinar is now live. All right, people are filing, and that means it's working, Ryan.
Perfect. Goal number one.
Yeah, indeed. Nice close-up shot of Joe's collar there. There we go. Oh, there he is. Joe, is the weather back east pretty solid? You're on mute, my friend.
On mute, yeah.
I've never done this before. No, it's getting warmer. It's getting better. It's been raining the last couple of days.
All right. I hope it's not an issue when I get back.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you're flying into Newark. That's probably will be the worst part of your whole entire trip.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm leaving from
airport.
I'm leaving from Baltimore, which I think I've flown out of the airport once, but I don't remember if it was good or bad. But
so you're connecting from LA to Baltimore to?
No, I'm going straight tomorrow, but on the way back.
Oh, okay.
Because we're going to be down with my sister and family, so they live in Maryland. So
okay.
My dad's going to basically drop me off on the way back to Jersey, which is the Baltimore airport's kind of the most on the way. And I found a direct flight Baltimore to LA, but it's Frontier Airlines, which is scary.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm worried about it already. All right, we'll give if everyone can hear us. I guess just if you hear us, just type into the chat on the right, just letting us know that you do hear us. I see people are still filing in, so we'll give it a couple minutes. All right, Chris Zito can hear us. Thank you, Chris. Ryan, do you want to sing a song, entertain people while they're filing in? Some elevator music, perhaps?
We're trying to get people on the webinar, not lose people. So
fair enough. Okay.
Well,
I thought this could be like your audition for American Idol or something.
No, maybe another time.
Secondary ticketing idol.
There you go. I'm sure that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least.
I don't know who would be your toughest competition there. Good thing Justin Kirk, is not in the business anymore, else he might take the crown.
You never know.
Yeah.
He could surprise you.
Yeah.
Grab Clay out of his office. That'd be fun.
Ebony says you should sing there, Joe. No.
That was a hard no.
My wife was a Broadway performer for a couple of years. She could sing for you.
Really? She was a Broadway performer. What show was she in?
She was in Sister Act.
Wow, that's a great fun fact.
She was in Sister Act. So no, she does all the singing for our house.
Is that how you met her? Were you in the audience that day?
No, I know that would be a nice movie plot, but no. No.
What would the name of that movie be? It'd be like something with tickets in it. It's like trying to think of, I don't know. From Broadway to the Hardwood.
I don't know. They had Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan in it,
You think Tom Hanks would be comfortable playing you?
I think Tom Hanks would do a much better job playing myself than I could do playing myself.
Okay, well that's fair. That's very fair. All right, we got 19 people on. Ryan, should we give another 2 minutes and then we'll get going?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You tell me.
I don't know. I'm tough with making these decisions,
Yeah.
I see Adam hopped on. Hi, Adam. How are you? And for everyone that's filing in, if you haven't been on a webinar with us before, you can type into the chat if you've got questions for us, or there's also the Q&A. So feel free to do either if you've got questions. I see more people are coming in, so glad we waited a little bit. So Ryan, what's our prediction? How many runs will the Mets score for DeGrom today?
0. If
Zero.
history holds. Yeah.
It's about their average. So
yeah. 0. Maybe new hitting coach, get a few more. Maybe get to 1. So we'll see how many he drives in himself.
That's about their only chance of scoring any runs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy. He's given up 2 runs all season and he's 2-2.
Shocking.
Went to a game a few years ago where he threw 9 scoreless and they won 3-0 in 13 innings. And I just felt really bad for the guy.
Who were they? Were they playing the Phillies?
They're playing the Phillies. The Phillies didn't score anything for 13 innings, but he threw this like 9-inning gem. There were 4 or 5 different times he gave up a leadoff double and the runner never left second. He pitched even better once the runner got on. And it was frustrating, but at the same time, it was just, we sat right behind home plate. And so I saw just the diversity of his pitches and how they just all went to different areas every time. And as a hitter, I'm like, how does anybody hit any of these pitches? Like, I can't be mad at my team anymore for not scoring runs when this is what they're facing.
Yeah. You'd think I'd remember a game like that because I watched them all, but there's so many like that with DeGrom that he gets no run support. So it all blends together at this point.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get started. I will just reiterate for anyone else that's new that just hopped on. Feel free to type in your questions or comments into the chat or into the Q&A. Either one is fine. I think everyone can hear us at this point. So I will introduce myself. For anyone that was looking to see Bob Hamer, I apologize. You're stuck with me instead, the better looking, more fun version. My name is Mike Rudner. I'm the VP of Business Development at SBS Consulting. I know we changed our name recently. And we're here to talk about the secondary market today with our friends from Tickets for Less who are sponsoring this podcast. I know Ryan, who we've worked with for a few years now, is on this panel as well. And Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself and Tickets for Less?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mike. First of all, thanks to you and Bob and Jason and the SBS team. We're excited to have another webinar that we can talk about the secondary market and hopefully it can be another educational piece on this topic that everyone on the webinar today can take back and apply something to their organization. And thanks to Joe and Calleagh as well for jumping on. I know both of them have a lot happening. So thanks for carving out some time. I'm excited to have both of you kind of share your insights and what's worked and not worked for you guys. And just have a great conversation centered around that where we can all hopefully take something away. So real quick on TFL and myself, we'll start with TFL. We're a top 1% secondary market company based out of Kansas City. We were founded in 2004 as a local option to purchase tickets and have grown significantly since that point to where we now have partners all across the country of different sizes, whether it's professional or collegiate teams, whether it's organizations, conferences, venues, you name it. We have partners in every space where we really serve to try to be an extension of their sales team and provide a transparent partnership where we can really come alongside of what teams are doing or organizations are doing on the primary side. So we do that in 3 ways. A is by helping teams with their distribution, getting tickets out to as many sites as they can get to and different exchanges. 2, by maintaining price integrity, which I think we can all agree is more important than ever, given the last year and the COVID stuff. And so, and then 3rd, by providing data and pricing analytics where we can help teams with their future pricing decisions. So by doing all that, we're striving to come alongside and help our partners do different things. And I've been fortunate to see TFL grow from two different seats. First, from my time on the primary side, where we worked strategically with the TFL, where we were able to grow our market and our partnership together. And now in this role as the director of partnerships, to be able to help teams work strategically and play a small role in achieving their goals. So even in a pandemic, we've been fortunate to grow our existing partnerships, take on some new partnerships. And so the only pitch I'll make today is, no matter where you fall on the secondary market side of things, if you do nothing, if you do a little bit, or you do a lot, we'd love to talk to you and see where we can fit in with you, and work together strategically to help everyone go together collaboratively and achieve goals and drive revenue.
Awesome. Nice job there, Ryan. I'm sure Adam will be happy with that intro. So next up, Calleagh Darby from IMG College Ticket Solutions. Did I get that right, Calleagh?
There's a Learfield in front of IMG.
Oh, I forgot the Learfield part. I apologize.
It's a mouthful. You can say LIMGC too, but Ticket
there
Solutions.
Okay, well, there's Calleagh Darby, and Calleagh is based at SMU. And I guess, Calleagh, why don't you talk more about your role within Learfield IMG?
So I'm the general manager of ticket sales at SMU. I work for Learfield IMG College Ticket Solutions. We are at over 40 properties across the country. A lot of us do work with secondary partners. We're a big network of PMs that work together and again, network on all of these things. But my primary goal here at SMU, boots on the ground, is to generate as much ticket revenue as possible for SMU. We have men's and women's basketball that are ticketed, and then our football is also ticketed. Those are our three revenue generating sports that are ticketed. So my team is responsible for the sales of season tickets, mini plans, group tickets, single game tickets. I focus a lot of my time with our partnership with Tickets for Less, and some business opportunities with our Mustang Sports Properties team and sponsorships. A lot of work with the marketing department at SMU, generating a lot of awareness and community awareness for SMU to get people out to our games. Just a lot of strategizing and coming up with ways to bring people out to the games. So there's a lot of different elements. Again, a lot of my time is spent on secondary work with Tickets for Less specifically. I know we're going to talk more about that. So, and I have a team. We're recovering from COVID, just like everybody else is, which is exciting. I've got 2 sellers now. We'll be up to 4 July 1. Myself, and then a remote data analyst. And we work really closely with the ticket office here at SMU, ticket operations, again, marketing, sponsorships, and then the Mustang Club, which is our booster club, our athletics foundation department. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, Calleagh. Last but certainly not least, Joe Rixon from Seton Hall. And Joe, I've known you for a long time, going back to my IO Media days. So Joe, how many years have you been at Seton Hall? Talk to us more about your role there.
I'm going into my sixth basketball season here at Seton Hall. So a lot has changed, obviously, in that time period. But in my current role, I oversee our operations and service element here. We're a small shop, so we do work very closely with our Learfield IMG Collegiate Ticketing Solutions. Did I say it right? Team, obviously we had experienced tremendous growth. Our average attendance per game is up over I think 3,500 or 4,000 a game. So we've experienced a ton of growth here. It's been really exciting. So currently that's my role, is mainly the thing with the operations and service element and working through that with our team here.
And then Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also the president of NATSO?
I am. I'm the president of NATSO for the next 2 months. So I'm president of NATSO. Encourage, obviously, all the ticket people on here to get involved with that as well. Just a good resource for people in the business. Fortunately, convention is going to be digital again, but looking forward to getting back to everybody in person in another year or so in Vegas.
Yeah. Who's taking over as president when you step down?
Rachel Myers from Michigan.
I know Rachel.
It will be in very good hands with Rachel running the show.
Yeah, she's a prior panelist on a webinar that I hosted. I think the last one that I hosted, she was a panelist. So nice succession of power.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, Joe and Callie and Ryan, of course, for sponsoring the podcast. It's been great working with you guys over the last year plus. So like I mentioned to start this webinar, feel free, if you're listening, feel free to type in questions into the chat or in the Q&A. If you're late to the webinar, missed that early on. So, feel free to fire questions our way. But we'll sort of lead the discussion for the first little bit, and then we'll leave it open to Q&A at the end. So I guess we'll start with Callie. I don't know if you were involved in the decision to work with the guys at Ticket for Less, but how did you guys decide who you were going to work with on the secondary side?
Yeah, I was absolutely the decision maker in that process. So when we got to SMU in 2018, there was a strong broker secondary presence in our system. Some of them were reputable people and organizations that we did know and had good relationships. But there were a lot of people that we didn't recognize, didn't know. But SMU had kind of an open policy. If you're buying tickets, then you're making us money, so it must be good. And I was just really overwhelmed with the number of, I'm just going to call them brokers, that were in the system and buying tickets and selling them. And it just didn't feel like there was any control of those accounts and what was happening with the tickets that they were purchasing, what they were buying them for, and then turning around and selling them for. No floors, no ceilings. So you can imagine that kind of brought down the integrity of our product. And I had some concerns about that. And so it's obviously not something that happened overnight, but through a long process, we were able to, I work directly with Clay, which has been a fantastic partnership. And we have a great relationship, but again, it didn't happen overnight. And so based on, again, our network is amazing. Like we're at Seton Hall with Joe. And so we were able to kind of dwindle down to 2 or 3 groups that we really like working with and still do at other properties. Really solid folks that we know have done good work on the secondary and hold the integrity of other schools and SMU's product. And I kind of put out what we needed, what we wanted, what we expected, and Tickets for Less rose to the top for that. And so it made the most sense. And that's how it happened. But again, it was a lot of back and forth. The main thing was, here's what I'm looking for, here's what we need. A big part of it was the revenue that we would be losing from going with one group and making sure that we would still get that revenue back with one person. So I needed to be able to come to SMU and say, I need to eliminate all of these accounts that spend this much money. But the upside is that Tickets for Less, for example, is going to spend that much money and more, and it's going to lead to XYZ. I'm sure we'll get into the benefits of what it's brought for us and why I'm here. But that's how we came to the partnership specifically with Tickets for Less. Is our system was a mess. I didn't like it. I didn't like feeling out of control. I don't like being out of control. And I was like, I can control this. This is something that I can control. We can control. So these are our tickets. This is our product. These are our assets, our tickets. It's really intriguing when someone says, oh, I'll buy 1,000 group tickets to this one game. It sounds great. But then what's happening to those tickets when they leave your system? So I have full control over that now.
That's great, Callie. That was a great answer. You hit on a lot of the points I know we were looking to cover. I guess, Joe, on your end, what's the value of having a secondary partner for you guys?
There's multiple things. The first was, we narrowed ours down to 2 this past year, and it was helpful in that it did give us a semblance of control, right? Once we sell the tickets, we don't tell the brokers what to sell their tickets for, obviously, but just having an idea that there's not such a flood in the market that it protects our price, our single game price. It helps, those brokers understand the market a lot better, because it's they're only really competing against one other person, and so it's not necessarily a race to the bottom price wise as it would be for 6 or 7 different groups. And that transition was tough in the sense that it's tough to tell an account rep who is used to selling just large quantities of tickets and trying to make a commission that we're not going to do it that way anymore, right? It's a tough immediate ask of that person to say, I'm taking away a certain aspect of your revenue stream, right? But the way we approached it was, in the long run, you're going to make even more money, because if there's not a race to the bottom ticket wise, right? If there's not a constant race to what broker can have the cheapest tickets on the secondary, then it's going to make it easier for us to sell tickets, either a season ticket package, a group ticket package, a single game package through us, because somebody can't say, well, I want to line up tickets for $4. Like, that doesn't really do anybody favors. In the short run, it may make you a little more money in the off season, but what does that do what kind of damage does that do over the course of 2, 3, 4, 5 years? And so that was a big yeah. So knowing who was in the market was great too. Like, knowing that if there's an issue where I think something on the secondary is being priced a little too low, I know who's selling the ticket. Like, I'm an only child, so my mom was like, there's something in the house broke. She knew it was me. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of, who broke the vase. It was me. I'm the only 3-year-old running around, right? So it's that element too of like, how can I monitor the situation a little more effectively? How can I protect our price integrity so that we can make more residual money over the next several years? And then, for us, the better we got, especially being in a more metropolitan market, the more instance we had of fraud and abuse with our tickets, people trying to, pan off printed homes or just, they've gotten very good at like printing stuff that looks like it's on our stock and it's not, right? Moving to mobile will help with that a little bit. But by taking a lot of by limiting our secondary partners, we limited how much of that can actually happen, because if basically everything on the market is being sold through 2 people that we trust and we know, then we watch fraud just drop off overnight. So for us, that was really the reason that we did it, was it helped us kind of clean up what it looked like on the secondary market. It allowed us to have more control over what we were releasing, and it made the brokers more money too. I mean, they liked it because they weren't having to compete with 6 or 7 other people that didn't really care about price integrity. Whereas if you have narrowed it down to 1 or 2 partners, they understand that they're really in business with you and they value a partnership and they don't want to alienate that. So for us, that was kind of why we did what we did on our end.
That's a great answer too, Joe. I might be the oldest person on this panel, but I remember when I first started working in the industry about 15 years ago, there was definitely a negative stigma with the secondary market. I guess, Calleagh, I'll start with you, but how do you feel like that's evolved over time? I mean, are you guys now aligning with Tickets for Less on your ticket sales strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are, around this time of year, we connect and talk about our plan. Obviously there's a contract in place, so there's expectations going into that, but we work together on, number of tickets, what makes sense for Tickets for Less, to help SMU, but also we want to make sure that's mutually beneficial for both parties. And so this time of year, we're kind of strategizing some of those numbers. We have our schedule now. So what games are going to pop off the most? Who are we playing? It's a downtime a little bit, but we're going through renewals. What seats are going to open up that I could potentially give to Tickets for Less, for example, just stuff like that. Inventory, we're giving Tickets for Less all the inventory now. But then as the year goes on and we get closer to the season, I mean, we're talking on a weekly basis, move more tickets. Clay sends me red flag tickets that are on the secondary, and I put my investigator hat on and take those people down, because it's part of our deal that it's just Tickets for Less has our tickets. And so it's really easy to flag when we have some rotten eggs posting. I do think that the secondary has had a bad rap in the past, but but I think that the way that it's evolved has made it really hard for the bad eggs to have a space. I mean, if you're calling somewhere and pretending like you're bringing out a church group of 100 people so you can get group tickets and you can't answer some of my basic questions. I mean, I always say, once I kind of catch people trying to buy our tickets and resell in the secondary as brokers, not just season ticket holders reposting, there's a difference. We know there's a difference. We can see the difference, and they think they can pull a fast one. I just say, hey, if you're interested in working with us, like just give me a shout. Let me know. If it's not me, maybe I can connect with another one of our partners or our schools. We're in an exclusive deal right now. Check back with me in a couple of years, but I would much rather have someone be upfront with us about their intentions. I'm going to delete their tickets and refund them anyways. And if they do it again, I'm probably not going to refund them. So I think the relationships that we've built with our third parties. So for me, it's Tickets for Less. Tickets for Less helps me identify the people that have purchased tickets not through us and maybe just gone online and reposted them. So I think it's evolved to help us weed out people that aren't intending to actually work with us and just intending to make money. So
how many of those conversations do you have? The fake church groups.
Yeah, a lot. And when they get my reps, I've had to train them up a little bit on that, asking them, what brings you out? Where are you located? A lot of the time it's just, you can just tell. And so my team's gotten really good at weeding those out, and we don't want to turn anybody away, but you can tell. I mean, you can really tell once you have a number of those conversations. And in the past, it was a free for all. So it was like,
right.
First group, right? Okay, come on out. Like, we didn't care. People didn't care what you did with your tickets, but the relationship we have with Tickets for Less, it makes us be more accountable for those. And, we just have to remember that sucks that we're missing out on 200 group tickets, but we've got a relationship where I can say, Clay's going to need them anyways. Tickets for Less is going to need them anyways. And I would rather have complete control over 5,000 group tickets for a game than 5,500, because we're going to generate more revenue anyways through that relationship. So they're out there. And my thing is just like, if you want to work with us, be upfront. Otherwise, you're going to get flagged in our network of GMs. So it's not good to just try to work the system. If you're a broker, I wouldn't, if I were them. If I ever become a broker, I know what to do. There's a right way to do it.
There you go. All right. Good advice for future brokers that are on the webinar. Joe, how about yourself at Seton Hall? How do you guys align your ticket sales strategy with Ryan's team at Tickets for Less?
So obviously there's some expectations you have to put in place about and the nice thing about consolidating is now it's mutually exclusive, right? They want to make as much money, you want to make as much money selling to them, right? So that's understandable. For us, by limiting who we've worked with, I'll speak to the companies we deal with once a week or so, but usually it's just to gauge an idea of not necessarily what they can always do for us, because sometimes they don't need additional tickets from us, or sometimes they do, and we'll have that talk. Most of the time it's to get data from them, not customer data necessarily, but like, what are you selling your tickets for? And that helps us when we get to the off season understand what the ceiling is for our tickets. And we found that just by using some of that data from the secondary partners, that's led to a lot of our revenue increases. Obviously, having increased attendance has been good, right? But our revenue increases have surpassed our percentage of attendance increases. So the secondary companies will help you in the sense that they'll give you pricing data that will allow you to say, okay, maybe I'm overpricing some of these games. Like, maybe the fans don't really think these games are as good as I think they are, or this opponent really is kind of a dog game. So maybe we should just try to just fill the building. This is going to be our strategy for this game. And there's other times where I put tickets out there and I thought our price was good. And then I found on the secondary people were willing to pay double, and they were selling more of the tickets at double than I was selling them for at face value. So like, it tells you, it helps you really adjust your pricing strategy. And for us, that has been the biggest benefit, is the data that we get from them helps us make more money on our end when it comes to selling season tickets and sale games, because now I can price my tickets more efficiently and not lose out on revenue. So that was the big thing for us. And then mainly that's what we talk about is, what are the tickets going for? What's my face value versus your face value? And then figuring out how the next year when we have a game very similar to that, how I can take full advantage of that data and using it to our advantage. And I know people say data all the time, but like, how can you actually use it? So in this case, it's actually helpful for us, and it helps us. It helps us make more revenue, exponentially more revenue at times, just by having an idea of what our tickets are going for outside of our own little ticket bubble.
Right. No, that makes sense, Joe. And, I think having that data to determine what you guys are selling in the future is important. I know, Ryan, you came from the team side, from NC State and now at Tickets for Less. Do you have other specific examples that hit on what Joe and Callie were talking about, where a team made pricing decisions based on information you're providing them?
Yeah, we have a lot of those examples. We have frequent calls with our partners where we're talking through what their market looks like, what ticket sales are pacing at, and different opportunities to grow, to maximize revenue, to maximize people in the stands, whatever it may be. We want to align with our partners on what they're trying to achieve for that game. So I think Callie and Joe both kind of hit on two different important topics, but the biggest thing I've learned since coming from the primary side is who has your tickets is probably the most important factor you can have on the secondary market. Obviously, data is important. Obviously, price is important. But if you have a partner that's not willing to work strategically and transparently with you to understand where their pricing is and why they're pricing things like that, then your market's not going to be as strong as you hope it would be, especially if you have multiple people coming in and looking to, just make a quick sale, make a quick dollar or whatever it may be. That's the biggest thing I've learned. We spent a lot of time when I was on the primary side in my different stops thinking about this secondary market, being strategic, and time over time from my seat, I would get on calls with people and we would hear, yeah, we want to be a great partner. We want to provide data. We want to do all these different things. And when we would track what they would do, none of those things were true. Or it was set up on a pricing software where it was set to undercut tickets. A pricing software can be a great tool if it's set up the right way. But if it's set up incorrectly and set up just to try to show you that someone sold a whole bunch of seats, it's not going to help you in the long run. And then on the flip side, we spent a lot of time with fans who would say, hey, I can go to the secondary market and I can buy a seat in a better section for a better price than you're willing to sell it to me. So fans were trained to wait to buy, to not come into our buying process, to not become a donor, to not move up the sales ladder. And because they said, well, I can go to this game and I can wait till 10 minutes before kickoff and a seat's $6 and great, I'm in the door and in a good seat. So we spend a lot of time being strategic on our pricing models to make sure that our price integrity is high and it's strong. So that way we're not training fans to do that. And at the end of the day, they may say, you know what, I do want to look at a season ticket. And I think Callie's kind of had some great success with that as a success story. And hey, fans have gone to the secondary market and our prices have been where they should be for that game because we're aligning strategically with them. We're having these conversations transparently. And, every school has a different approach. Every school has a different strategy, and that's great. But how does your secondary partner fit into that to provide value to you and value to your ticket holders, whether it be a season ticket holder reselling their seats or someone looking to come to just one game? So, Callie can speak to that whenever she, thinks is best, but, it's definitely been a solid partnership in that approach. And it's not just with Joe and Callie, we're doing that with most of our partners to have this be very strategic in their markets.
Yeah. And Callie, I guess from your standpoint, like the reps, I know, coming from the past, there was a lot of almost like a competitive nature between the secondary market and reps trying to sell. And I think now, like what Ryan was getting at is, you can use your secondary partner as almost like a lead funnel that can be your season ticket base in the future. How do you train your reps to sort of work alongside, Tickets for Less?
Well, I do most of that work. But what ends up happening is that I'm able to give leads, a list of leads through that relationship. So anybody that has, for example, purchased that Tickets for Less off their account transferred tickets to these people, they had to create accounts in our system. And so we're able to pull leads of people that received transferred tickets from Tickets for Less account. And I mean, I can't think of another example of how you're able to do that, except for maybe just season ticket holders transferring tickets to people that don't have season tickets. Those are good leads too. Like we have, Tickets for Less has about 6 different accounts, and it's so easy to pull those leads of people that purchased through them and they transferred them their tickets. We know where they sat, we have their phone number, their email address, all that information. So my team's able to follow up, you know, if they came out for a couple single games the following year from last year, and say, how'd you enjoy the game? How'd you enjoy those seats? Well, just so you know, those seats are available for season tickets. And to Ryan's point, what ends up happening when this thing really gets going and we're all cylinders are running, is that people are getting on the secondary, which may be some buyer behavior. They're just used to anything buying for their entertainment, going to StubHub or Googling, is they're finding that, like Ryan said, the price is similar or even higher, and it's driving people back to our box office to purchase on game day at our box office, putting revenue directly back into our pockets, which isn't a bad thing at all for either one of us. And so instead of random people driving the market up or down, we have one that's driving it up, and we're able to meet them halfway, and we're able to increase our prices. I don't think last year our get-in price for any of our games, maybe our last game was Thanksgiving, fell under $100, even for end zone seats. You couldn't get into our game for less than $100. And so people were coming to our box office and asking us for tickets, and we were saying we're sold out. I mean, we had limited capacity. I mean, being able to tell people we were sold out of a game is an incredible feeling. It's awesome. Having a higher get-in price than Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Texas on a weekend. I mean, that can only happen through this relationship. And so that drives the demand for our product higher, even though, or the appearance of a demand. When we're able to say we're sold out, we're then driving people back to secondary to purchase tickets for over $100. Now, out of a pandemic, I'm not sure what kind of prices we will see, but I mean, even so 2018, I can give some numbers. In 2018, when I got here, our average get-in price on resale, so our average resale get-in price was about $32. And then in 2019, we started our consolidated relationship with Tickets for Less. So we were just working with Tickets for Less. Our get-in price increased by 188%. So our average ticket price was $91 on the secondary for resale. Our average price to get into our games was more like $30 or $40. So people were, Tickets for Less has great inventory that they can charge that for, but we're also making money at home, so to speak. People are buying directly through us and through my team. And either way, we're getting the leads. So it's just a win-win for both. And then this last year, that average is way higher, but it was a pandemic. So it's a great example of what your partnership can do in tough times also was last season. But we're just looking forward to this year and what we can do. But one of the huge benefits is just bringing people back to your box office. And I know that Ryan would probably say that that's not a bad thing for them either at all. I mean, we are together controlling the market instead of 20 people controlling it. I've got my lowest price, I need to unload these tickets for $4. We're working together to drive that get-in price way up. And it makes us all more money. So I think that's the big picture you have to think about when you're scared to pull the plug on all those other people. Just the ultimate goal and big picture. And like I said, when all the cylinders are running, is that you've just got your home base, which is your box office, and then you've got your partnership, and you're able to work together to, it looks like there's a ton of people reselling their tickets, and it's just us and season ticket holders and Tickets for Less. So
and then Calleagh, Just to piggyback on what you're saying, I don't know if you saw the Q&A question, but it kind of hits on what you were finishing your answer with. When you guys decided to move to a consolidated market, how did you revoke and rescind the tickets from the other brokers? How did you communicate to those accounts to make them aware of a preferred partnership and avoid potential legal issues? That was from anonymous attendee.
So we didn't have any, you have to be careful if you already have contracts in place with other brokers. Of course, if you're looking to consolidate, you can't end those other partnerships, but we were in a position where we didn't have anything legal in place for other groups. So it's a professional, well-worded email that you have and you keep as a template, and you start these conversations early and you get something in place before the renewal deadline, ideally, so that maybe you're not putting tickets on these broker accounts yet until you finalize the deal and they don't have the ability to renew. I mean, if you don't have any contracts in place, it's more just hurt feelings. And you have to do best for your property and your organization that's going to generate the most revenue. They'll work it out. They'll find other groups. And then if you had people purchase, you send that email and you refund. I mean, you give a full refund. If they were donors, you make sure that you're able to fully refund. I think those are all things that need to be organized on the front end as you're working to consolidate. You pull your list, and if it's a great relationship that you have with another organization that you like, which I did, it was a phone call. They completely understand. The people that are professional, they'll understand. They might ask some questions, how they can get involved. In a way, you're creating some more demand for your product driving up the bidding war for having your business. So it's a lot of organization on the front end before you get into something like this. And then it's a well-constructed professional email that you can send. And, we're contractually obligated to work with one person now. And thanks for all your support in the past. We can be in touch in a couple of years or something like that. And then as your season goes on and you find people that pop up in your season, and they didn't work directly through you, it might be that like parts of that professionally written email, and you refund them and send them a note that says, hey, just so you know, we are exclusive with, I don't even say Tickets for Less, I just say we have an exclusive deal with a third party, whatever. Thank you for your time. In the future, call us. I refunded your stuff. We've had people get pissed, but we're not contractually obligated to sell to anybody. It's our product, it's our inventory to do what we want with it.
Right. No, that makes sense. And Joe, I saw you nodding throughout Callie's answer. Anything you wanted to add on that? You're muted, Joe. Oh,
yeah, we were a private institution, and we didn't have any contractual agreements with anybody. There was nothing on paper, so we really weren't obligated to provide anybody with anything. So it was the same thing. It was a phone call for the most part. Some of them were very annoyed with us. What's funny though is the ones who were most annoyed were the ones I consider the most like amateur hour of the operations. Because the other thing that I try to reiterate to the broker partners that we had to sort of release was like between our relationship with Learfield IMG and my own networking, like I'm more than happy to provide them with a reference for somebody else. Like, if that partnership was good, and we like, other than the fact that we decided that this was just the best business decision for us, I'll be more than happy to like reference them to somebody else. Like, so there were a couple of partners where I had to reiterate, like, don't burn your bridge here. Like we can still do right by you in another form, and we can find a good partner for you. So that was helpful too. Some just didn't get it; they didn't like it. But most of the ones that understood or were the most professional were the ones that have been in this business for a while, and they kind of understand how it works because they have their own personal, agreements and individual exclusive offers with other people. So like they understood. So we just made sure that we called everybody and just explained it to them personally. If they weren't happy, they at least understood.
That's all good to know. Thanks, Joe. And I see Adam from Tickets for Less has raised his hand. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I'm going to allow him to talk if he so chooses. Let's see if this works. Adam, I don't know if you're trying to talk, but you're at least allowed to talk now, but you're muted. we'll give him a few seconds. All right. I guess he chooses not to. So for anyone, I think we'll wrap up in about 10 minutes. If anyone's got questions at this point, feel free to jump into the chat or fire away on the Q&A. Ryan, I know you haven't been too vocal on this webinar. Were there things questions you had for Calleagh and Joe, that you were hoping they could answer?
I've tried to stay quiet and out of their way because I think they both can obviously speak better than I can on this topic, from how they've approached it and seen different results. And I think what's interesting is they've both gone about it different ways, and both seen some benefits. And as Calleagh pointed out, even during COVID, with limited capacities, we've all, in every industry, especially our industry, had to adjust and adapt. And so I think it's interesting with Joe being in New Jersey and the different rules and regulations they've had versus Calleagh being at Texas at SMU to kind of have a completely different approach. I think it's interesting to see how they've both seen results and successes through this. I'll say this: every place is different, right? Every place has different goals. Every place has different things they want to achieve. But just like in anything in life, the more strategic you are with it, and the more control you can have over it with the right partners, I think that's a really big piece of this. The right people have to be at the table to work transparently together, not just that lip service. Then it's going to be successful. And just like in anything, I always think about, if I ever wind up back on the primary side, I would approach the secondary different. It would be part of my sales plan, as I was building out a sales plan on the primary side, just like it was for season tickets and groups and mini packs and single games and whatever else. Because all it takes in this world we live in, a fan doesn't have to talk to anybody to go to find your tickets. And what is the value they're going to see of your tickets? If it's too low, there's no demand. If it's too high, there's no value, and it doesn't drive them to want to create an urgent purchase. And so having the right partner with the right tools, with the right approach to different things has been great. And, for me, I've seen it from the primary side. I've seen it now from the secondary side. And, clearly I work at one place, and I think, we lead the way in doing that. So, if someone wants to have that conversation, let me know. But, Calleagh and Joe have done a great job in talking about what, they've seen and what they've gone through and how. But, I'd be interested to see what questions pop up as well.
Joe and Calleagh, I guess if we don't have any more questions, any final thoughts from you both? If anyone wants to reach out to you, any suggestions on the best way to contact you guys?
Sure. I mean, I'm just Darby at smu.edu. That's the best. Email's the best. I'm happy to talk through it. I'm candid, open book. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you what I think you should do. But yeah, I recognize that it's not easy. You can bring an idea to the table, but I know there's a lot of people that have to sign off on stuff like this. So just make sure you're bringing the data, bringing the facts, and have the facts. What's your get-in? What's your average get-in? What's your ticket? What are your tickets going for on StubHub? Who are your brokers? Do you know them? Have you talked to them? If your tickets are $4 to get into a game, I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. I mean, it's at SMU. I mean, our team is doing really well. But if you're not a top 25 team, it still doesn't mean you have to bottom out your prices. So I'll just say it sounds scary and daunting. Like I said, what revenue is going out the window when you drop people's tickets and you kind of eliminate them from your database? But it doesn't mean there's not someone or a nice professional organization out there, as Joe called them, amateurs. We can eliminate those, and who are the professional organizations that you can work with to make up that revenue that's missing. So don't be scared.
And if you need anything, you can reach out to me LinkedIn. My email's on our website, joseph.rixon@smu.edu. Like Ryan said, every school is different. Every situation is different. There's no one size fits all approach for anybody. Our market in the New York metropolitan area, 15 miles from New York City, is going to be different than a school in the Midwest or in the Southeast or in the Northwest. Like everybody's different, right? So, if you have any questions or you're having trouble figuring out the next step is, Calleagh and I both know plenty of other people in the business. We obviously network a lot. Obviously her connections with Learfield, IMG, and mine with Nat. So like if I don't have the answer, I'll be more than happy to send you to somebody, because I know that there was a person at one point in time who was in the same boat as you. And if you're looking to go exclusive in the secondary market, or if you're just like us, you're looking to narrow down your partners a little bit, ask those potential partners for references. Ask them, are there companies you work with now that I can validate that you are who you say you are, and that you are, you're somebody I will want to work with. So just do your due diligence and ask around, and you are, your partnership is going to be different than everybody else's partnership, just because no school is the same. So just try to do right by you, and obviously, the revenue will come with that.
And don't be afraid to ask some probing questions. Sorry, Mike, to dive in just a little bit more. I think that was always something for me that was really helpful, was just diving in with partners to talk about what's your pricing strategy, what's your approach when different situations happen, and to Joe and Calleigh's point, use your network of people. That for the sports industry, that's one of the things I love the most. People pick up the phone and they're honest, and so you don't be afraid to use your network, and really ask those deeper questions.
And Ryan, I believe you'll be reaching out to everyone that attended this webinar if they want to speak more with you, right?
Yeah, I'll certainly shoot a note out to everyone who attended. But if you want to have a conversation in the meantime, my email's pretty easy. Ryan.Kindt, KINDT @ticketsforless.com, and love to have a conversation.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Well, Calleagh, great speaking with you for the first time. And Joe, I'll see you at the airport tomorrow at 4:30. Ryan, always a pleasure. I know you're the second biggest Mets fan on this webinar, with me being the first. So hopefully Jacob deGrom makes us smile later tonight, just like we've smiled this afternoon on the webinar.
Yeah, we'll see. Thanks everyone for their time and for joining us. Thanks, Calleagh. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks everyone at Tickets for Less, and feel free to jump onto the Clubhouse website and see what upcoming webinars that are free to attend. And if you have any questions for me, my email address is mike@sportsbusiness.solutions. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Or it's not Thursday, Wednesday. Sorry. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Or Tuesday. Oh my God, I was wrong again. Enjoy the rest of your
You're robbing
Tuesday.
us.
Sorry, everyone. Take care.
Yeah.